In this video, I want to discuss mindfulness and how it applies to the present moment. I like to describe mindfulness as being aware in the moment. So there's a level of awareness that we have and we hold while we're in the moment. So mindfulness is about holding those two things, the present moment and awareness, as we go through life. We are not trying to go out and be mindful all the time. We're simply trying to be able to hold a presence, an attention, an awareness as we go through certain parts of our life. And there are times when it's more important, there's times when we don't need to be very mindful at all. So what we're trying to look at is a mindfulness practice and understanding of what it is, what it's like to be mindful. And I'd like to go through a bit of an exercise with you in this video. Just before we go out and do that, the idea of being mindful, as I said, is not a practice that we have to maintain. And I watched the Dalai Lama go through doing his his talks around the world, and he came to Australia, and I was listening to him, and there was a question that came up in the audience, which was asked. A lady said, Your Holiness, how is it that you are always so mindful? You're always so aware. And he stopped and he thought, and he has that classic period of mindful, I suppose, attention to how he's going to respond. And then he responded to the lady, he said, sorry, what was the question? And as you can imagine, the whole audience roared in laughter, and it was a really funny moment. And it was such a gentle and kind way that the Dalai Lama was able to express that awareness and mindfulness is not something that we carry, that we hold all the time. It's available to us and we can carry it around, but we don't always use it all the time. And so quite a comical way to demonstrate that. Well, what I'd like to look at now is to ask you to somewhat do a mindfulness exercise, and I will guide you through it, and something that you'd be able to use yourself or you'd be able to get your clients to do. And it purely looks at mindfulness or awareness, attention on, in the present moment, your breath. So mindfulness of breathing or mindfulness of breath is having your attention, your awareness in the present moment of your breath, how it's moving. So I'll ask you to, I'll invite you to close your eyes and to simply begin to witness your breath. Witnessing your breath means you don't place judgment on the breath, but you simply watch it as it comes in, and you watch it as it goes out. Notice the breath coming in. Notice it filling your lungs. And then notice the breath leaving as you exhale. In this process, you will notice that the mind can wander away. Be aware that the mind has wandered, and gently place your attention back to your breathing. And so again, you watch the breath coming in and the air filling your lungs, and then the air escaping again. You take notice of the air coming in through your nostrils, filling your lungs, and coming out again. You might notice that the mind has moved away and it's looking at a thought or a feeling that you have. And just gently bring your awareness, your attention back to the breath. Again, you watch the breath coming in, filling your lungs, and then escaping again. And repeating this process of being able to watch the mind as it wanders away and not judge it, but simply allow it to be there and bring it back to the present moment of breathing is mindfulness. It's mindful meditation. And our focus is on the here and the now. And we're watching the breath coming in right here, right now. And then releasing again. I invite you to open up your eyes and come back to the room. And what's quite important to see in this mindfulness meditation is that we're trying to hold an awareness of the present moment and being mindful of that. So there's a bit of a metaphor that I'd like to share, and it looks at a man trying to shoot an arrow at a target. And so what happens is man holds the bow in front, he grabs the strings, he brings it back, and he's aligning up the target. And as he's aligning up, all of a sudden, a fly comes along and lands on his nose. Immediately, his attention is drawn to the fly on his nose. And it's very, very difficult for him to go back to the target. And the target is what he's trying to shoot for. That's what's important in life. That's what he wants. There's some of his values, those areas of value to him. But there's a fly on his nose. So all he does is he gently brings his attention back to the target and releases. Now the fly is still on his nose, but he's able to go out and get those results that he's looking for. That is what we're trying to gain through looking at the present moment and applying mindfulness. It's stopping in that moment and becoming aware of what's important and going out and acting on that in the here and the now, rather than letting go of the bow and then trying to shoo the fly away. We would simply just refocus after the fly lands on the nose, refocus and then fire as we would without the fly. That's a really strong metaphor that we can go out and use, because it talks about a target. It talks about pulling back. There's effort that we're working towards. It looks at our focus, and then all of a sudden there's an interruption, which is the fly landing. And that's what occurs in life. Things show up and we get caught up. We either go into worries about the future or concerns about how difficult the future will be, or maybe some regrets or some fear about the past. We tend to get caught up. And what we're saying is, right here, right now, whether it's a fly or even an insect, a bee, we can still fire that arrow towards what's important to us. So it's grounding. It's in the here and the now. So that metaphor is really useful that we can go out and use. The bow and arrow with the fly, it's very gentle and kind, and it definitely goes out and it stops us to consider. It asks us to consider the present moment. Mindfulness meditation is not a requirement when we're teaching this with clients, but certainly doing some form of mindful, meaning attention placed towards something. So the present moment, where we're attending to something in the present moment. So intention, mindfulness, that's the sort of exercise that we're asking our clients to do. That can be through formal meditation or informal activities such as closing a door behind you in a mindful and a gentle and a soft way, so it doesn't wake up the rest of the house. So use that. Have a look at applying mindfulness in session, stopping with clients and doing some grounding work, feeling your feet, noticing your feet, and so on. So use that with yourself, use that with your clients, and I know that if you do use that within life, you'll certainly get a richer side of life. There's more to experience when we've got our attention and intent close by. Hope you enjoyed that, and look forward to seeing you next time.